Hello, welcome back. In this video, we're going to go to the next steps. Last video was adding an armature to a fairly basic little tower and making it wiggle around. This one is going to build an armature that's more complicated with a figure that's more complicated. We're going to start with this thing. If you don't know what I'm doing here, you are starting in the wrong spot, and you should, looks okay for a body and neck and a head, you should go back and watch some of the other tutorials about doing some modeling. This should not be a surprise to you. So I've built the torso, the head, the neck, but now I'm going to slice it in half. So that I can just use the mirror modifier for the legs. As I said, if you haven't done the earlier ones, don't start here. Yeah, let's add some legs. Those are seriously messed up legs. Okay, let's double tap G to move that in. Double tap G to move that in. If I haven't talked about it in earlier videos, when you double tap G, it sort of makes it stick to one of the edges. So now when I get legs, they're a little bit better. And that's going to go there. And a little bit of a lower leg. And this is going to be for my feet. Something like that. Inset. Double tap G to grab that on the Z axis to move it up. Extrude that out as an arm. Scale it down. Extrude it out as a forearm. Scale it down. Extrude that out and scale it in the Z for some sort of really bizarre hand. That's a really lame hand. Grab it on the Z to stretch it out. I don't know. Whatever. There we go. This guy's got really long arms. The point of this is not to build a character, but to do the armatures. That is horrible. Anyway, we're gonna grab this dude and we're gonna move it up. Turn on clipping. Grab and move it up. Stick him on the origin, kind of like that. Just makes our animation a little bit better. Okay, so here is our very rough character. The point of this video again is to do an armature. So object mode, add armature, and it sets our first bone down there. We want to be able to see it like in the last one. Go in front, and let's move that up. So it's going to be his torso roughly. If you want to build a more like complex animation in your character, you might want to add more bones in the spine. But since this is going to be a very simple one, I'm just going to do one. In edit mode on your bone, do a neck, which might not even be that important. You might want to just go straight to the head. Anyway, so now we have a spine, a neck, and a head. And then I'm just going to do, like, there's a million different ways of doing this. I'm going to build a hip. You don't need to do this hip. We're not really going to animate our hip at all, but I'm just lazy. That's going to go down to the knee. That's going to go down to the ankle. And that is in the wrong spot. And that is going to be the foot. Pointed downwards a little bit. Yeah. This is not really straight, so I'm going to grab it. Straighten it out a little bit. Same thing here for the shoulder. Extrude that out. That's going to be a shoulder. A really horrible shoulder. Anyway, forearm and hand. All right. Anyway, this will work. So all I did was extrude all those pieces out. Now, for the next few steps, what we're about to do becomes very, very important. And that's also fairly laborious, is renaming the things. But it becomes much, much more important later when we symmetrize the bones. Notice we haven't done this side over here. We're going to do the lazy one. We're going to do all the work over here, and then we're going to tell the computer to copy it over here. So I've started labeling the spine, the neck, and the head. The rest, however, need to be labeled with a .L, because this is going to be the front of my dude here. So this is the left-hand side. Yeah. So this is going to be shoulder.L, because it's his left shoulder. This is his humerus. That's funny. It's the name of the bone. I might have spelled it wrong. In your forearm, you have two bones. You've got the radius and the ulna. In ours, we only have one. I'm going to call it radius. And this is hand.L. All right. And down here, we have hip.L. This is a femur.L. This is, I'm going to call it the shin, even though in your shin you have two bones, if you care to know them. They are the tibia and the fibula, and the foot.L. So now we have all of our bones labeled. If you look at the relations, they should follow through, which becomes important later. So our foot is related to our shin is related to our femur is related to the hip, and the hip has no parent. So what we should do is we should add a parent, and that's going to be the spine. So it's attached to the spine. That becomes important when we move the spine. We want the hip to move too. So the parent of the spine is nothing, because it's our master, our origin bone. The neck has the spine as the parent, and the head has the neck as the parent. And as we go down the line, we have parents for everything. So when we grab our bones, it goes with us. All right. So in our last video, we parented them together. We went like this, and we went Control P, and we with automatic weights, and then we went to I went to pose mode, and now we can move, rotate these. We can rotate these, and it's all wonky because I haven't applied the bones, the mirror. So anyway, that is all there. Undo, undo, undo. We need to do some stuff first to make this easily posable. First thing we're going to do is we are going to go and apply this mirror modifier. So now have I still got my yeah. So you see here, if I pose here, woo, and the other arm moves and it goes sort of the opposite. That's a byproduct of me parenting with automatic weights before I did the mirror, applied the mirror modifier. It's a little fun little thing. We're gonna break the parenting anyway. Yeah, why do we do that? Parent, clear parents. Boop. Okay, let's get to what we're trying to do here. No, wait a second. Back up the bus, Gus. Let's parent again. So if we want this object to like raise his hand, okay, what we have here is a posable figure with forward kinematics. Okay, to move the hand, I have to move the forearm. To move the forearm, I have to move the humerus. It would be much easier if I could grab onto this hand and move it up. All right, that's what we're going to do. The main point of this video is something called inverse kinematics. So I can actually move this hand and it moves all the pieces along. That's what we're going to do here. Okay. Okay, so inverse kinematics. Our hand will move, which will move the other bones down the bone chain. All right. In order to do that, we need to add some other bones. These are going to be the control bones. We're going to use these as the ways of manipulating our arm. So I've taken one that I've extruded out of what will be the elbow, and another one here which is going to come out of the hand. That'll work. It's not great, but whatever. We're going to need to name those. So this one becomes the hand IK. It doesn't have to be IK, but it's just this is the hand inverse kinematic. .L. This is going to be the one that we use to actually grab onto to move the arm around, not the actual hand itself. Okay, we don't want, so down here in the bone properties, we don't want it to deform, we don't want it to actually move the mesh. We want, anyway, and we don't want it to have a parent. Okay, so disconnect those. This one here is we're going to use as a target. I'll explain that in a little bit. So I'm going to call it elbow target.L, elbow target.L, and again, we don't want it to deform. We don't want it to have a parent. All right. So our pull target actually is going to sit back there because as our elbow bends, this elbow is going to bend back like this. Okay. We want that elbow to always point towards this. So it'll make more sense later. Okay, so now we have this one labeled hand IK. It's got no parent, it's got no deform. Same thing for the elbow target. It's got no parent, it's got no deform. Let's add our inverse kinematics. So in pose mode, we go down to this tab down here, and we the bone constraints, and we add an inverse kinematic, and then we got these properties here. Okay, this is it can be a little confusing at the start, but once you do it once or twice, it's like that makes sense. So the target is always the armature. The bone in this case for our first IK is that hand IK that we had. All right. The target, the pull target, is that again armature, and our elbow target. What happened? A couple things happened. One, you see this little dotted line? That's connecting to our spine, but we don't want our hand to move the whole spine, so we need to move our chain length to 2. Okay, and it is twisted all around, which means we need to, and I don't know why, but setting it to -90. I'm sure other videos will tell you what it is. I just set it to -90 because it works. Yeah, so I might have built something wrong. But anyway, when I grab onto this and move it, you see how the arm now moves and the hand goes up. Hey, I have a question. Hey, you, I have a question. What? And anyway, like that. Okay, so I could take this elbow target and move it down there. So then we could have like a, that's horrible, move it way back here. And we could have like a, a run. Yeah, anyway, let's undo all that. So, yeah, we've got that done. Then you would do the same thing for the feet. But since any learning requires you to actually do the actions, I'm not going to show you how to do the feet. It's the exact same way. You just call them something different, like foot IK, blah, blah, blah. What I am going to show you here is how to symmetrize it, and that will be the end of our video. Yeah, so we select all this stuff. Can we do it from here? Symmetrize? Or do we have to do it from object mode? I forget. Object. Where is it? Symmetrize. Mesh. Edit mode. Edit mode. Armature. Symmetrize. There it is. It's in edit mode. Symmetrize right there. Armature. Symmetrize. Poof! Look at that. Now, remember way at the beginning we named all the bones? Notice this one here is shoulder.r. This one here, humerus.r, blah, 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 all the way down the line. And this bone right here is our hand ik.r. Remember, these were all listed as .ls. This has changed it all. So now we have an armature that we can, with automatic weights. And if we go to pose mode, you can see here that we have working arms. All right, so that took a little longer than I wanted to. You try it and build a whole new moving legs. Pose your dude over. Woo, make his legs move. Oh, I haven't done the inverse kinematics. You do that. Okay, go.